Good morning. Welcome to the Women in Leadership, Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Heather. And together we are working to connect women in leadership to build relationships and empower each other, improving the health and wellness of the community, body, mind, and soul.
Today's special guest is an author, an artist, singer, songwriter, medium, and intuitive counselor with a new book, Finding God at a Garage Sale. Today's guest is Monica Guerrero. Welcome, Monica.
Hi, guys. So happy to be here.
Yay. So we're going to start with a little introduction for you. We would like you to tell people about a little bit about yourself and then about this new book that you have that you'd like to talk about today.
Awesome. So I'll start actually with the book because it kind of introduces myself. It's a summation here. It's called Finding God at a Garage Sale: Love, Miracles, and Old Shoes. Life Lessons Learned Through Junk. Follow the Signs. And so as an artist, as you said, and it's funny as you're announcing me, I'm like, boy, that is a long list, but wait, there's more. It's like one of those commercials, but it really is. And I ended up writing the book because I write a lot on my Facebook page. I'll post about experiences that I've had, and I love to share these stories because as I'm having them, they just thrill me and excite me. And so I go, oh, I got to tell Facebook about this, and you won't believe what happened today. But I've been an artist my whole life, and I've done, gosh, everything. I consider my songwriting to be an art form. It's a different form of expression, and it's just kind of the way that things come out. I call it channeling, as a lot of artists, singers, writers do. You open up to source, and things just come streaming through. So I worked in the LA area in the film industry, doing making creatures for commercials and television, and I've worked as a hairdresser, which is also an art form. But when I worked as a hairdresser, one of the things that I've experienced was that I would touch people, and I would have images and different things pop in, and I would experience this again and again, that I would, before I would touch someone, and then I would touch them, and I would have these images and stories appear. And it was a little while before I worked up the courage to ask people if they were open to me sharing these things that would come in. And they did. And I shared with them, and to my surprise, I was validated that there was information that was coming into me through touch. So this is how the mediumship really began for me later in life as a hairdresser, and realizing, so people would start to come to me in that way to receive that validation. Sometimes it was messages from loved ones. Sometimes it was just something that they were going through, and just the thing that they needed to hear. Often we'll call our therapist a hairapist. They'll know just what to say to us. And there's something about getting in that sensitive realm of the crown chakra. And so it was something that I was awakened to as well. And so what started to happen is I would be going around town and would have these experiences where I would share with people that I didn't know. And one of my most challenging was in the Social Security office with a Social Security guard. I had to try to talk myself out of that one. But I did end up sharing a message from his mother and his brother on the other side. And to my deep comfort and amazement, his mother did the same thing when she was alive. And he ended up running out after I left, and he came up to me and he said, "I just want to thank you so much." He gave me a big hug and said, "What you did for me meant so very much." So I've received a lot of thanks and gratitude for that. But I've also loved to, like I said, to share the stories. So this book is a collection of some of the stories. There are just so many of these synchronicities and just little miracles that have happened in all different places, sometimes at garage sales, sometimes not. And the trash art that I do, and I proudly call it trash art, is it's part of that journey too. So it's about shifting perspectives and helping people to understand that they're not stuck in their limited perceptions. Maybe those perceptions are painful or scary. You can break free from them. And kind of like what you guys do. Every time you do your podcast, you're breaking through those concepts of pain and limitation and taking us to a different space and transcending. So,
oh, I love that.
Oh my goodness.
That is
there's
such
a lot
huge
there.
compliment. Thank you so much.
yeah, thanks you guys.
Well, can you maybe give us a quick example of one of those stories that you might have in your book? I have been able to read these stories on Facebook because we've been friends for a couple of years now on Facebook, and I met Monica in a very interesting way twice now. So
Yes.
two of the three times I've seen Monica in public was at Office Depot. And I've probably been to Office Depot
Those two times,
right? In the last like couple of years. And it was just a really, interesting way to meet somebody and build a connection. And I'm really excited for you to become part of our community and support us in support each other in very different ways. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to meet you, Charlie. And what I love is I always say everything means something. So when we're caught in a story, it's like a trap that we get caught in. And I say this about the story may be that I'm here for one reason. So, and that's a really strong story. I need to get here now. I need to do this now. I like this because that is the linear. That's the, okay, we need to do this at this point, this at 5 o'clock, this at this time. But what we miss out on sometimes when we're in that story is the real reason that we're meant to be somewhere. So, and I do it. I'm in a human body. We all do it. It's part of the human experience. We're balancing out the spirit streaming through us, and the body's got its job to do. So it says, ego, protect me, ego, make me have rules and follow them and all that stuff. But for example, yesterday I had called T-Mobile in the morning. Oh my gosh, my bill is raised again. I shouldn't have to be calling back. There's this should story. I shouldn't have to be adjusting this, Well, I ended up calling. I heard just the song that I needed to hear for a reading that I was having that day. It was just the message that needed to come in. I ended up talking to the representative. I ended up giving him a message from his grandmother that was his mother's mother, just what he needed to hear. My phone is going off right now as much as I thought that I turned it down. And this is just in alignment with what I'm talking about. Like, I don't turn my phone off and things. I call them little exclamation points from spirit. The messages will come in whatever way they need to be. So those stories about shoulds and shouldn'ts, I love when I'm proven wrong. And I even said to the guy, the T-Mobile rep, I said, to think that I said at the beginning of the conversation, I shouldn't have to be calling back here. And clearly I will need to call back again and again until we find out the reason why. And that's to connect him with his grandmother. So speaking of connecting with grandmothers, when I met Charlie, I just knew I had to talk to her. I went up to her like I do. And I remember saying that she was a teacher. And I remember telling her that she was a teacher. And I don't always remember these things because when I'm streaming, I'm live streaming Spirit Info, I'm not always in my conscious thinking brain. It's kind of a different process. but I do remember that. And I remember it being important that she was a teacher and that I acknowledged that. And the other thing was a message from her grandmother. And I just felt such love around her grandmother. I still feel that around you. I feel her hand in supporting you with this podcast, also with supporting women and the feminine. I love that you are teaching through inspiration. And I think that's the best kind of teaching that there is out there. That's the most lasting and influential, is teaching by inspiration and teaching through the steps that we take. So, but she is a yoga teacher too. So there are definite teaching, official teaching aspects to you. But I've
been a teacher of different types my entire life. You know, going into the military, I would teach my other, sailors and things like that, because I was in the Navy, how to do things, right? And I was a bosun mate, and I love to learn, and then I like to take what I've learned and apply it and teach others. It's like teaching a man to fish. Then after I got out of the military, I became a preschool teacher, and I taught preschool for a while, and then I transitioned into teaching yoga, and now I'm building and uplifting and empowering and sharing my knowledge and my love of teaching with you. So that's yes, so much. Yes.
I love that. And, and we don't know, I always encourage people to share what's on their heart, because we may never know. Like you could have said to me, and this does happen at times, you could have said, thank you or no thank you for that information and walked away. And so, for me, my faith is to be good with that. My faith is to share what I feel compelled to share or not, and to be good with that. And so I love the validation. It's great, but I don't go in for the validation. And I think that that's really important, to go in for the experience and to share and love and be who you are. And then the validation will come to you, or it won't in that way. And that's faith. That's faith. Don't go in for that validation, go in for the love. And when you go in for the love, you'll never go wrong. You'll always meet who you're meant to meet. You'll always hear what you're meant to hear. So, but I do love to hear that validation that you were a preschool teacher as well. That just, I mean, of course. Of course.
And exactly what you were just talking about, sharing, coming from a place of love to build community and things like that. That's exactly why Heather and I are here. That's exactly why we're doing what we're doing. And that's exactly why we want to bring you guys enough, being authentic in ourselves and share with you our knowledge, because, we've both been through a lot in our lives, and we want to use what we've been through to help others, because we didn't go through those things for no reason.
Exactly.
Yes.
We went through those things for a reason. What that reason is yet, we're not exactly sure, but we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep learning and growing together. You guys are going to see us fail forward.
Yes. Ooh.
It's going to happen. We're going to fail. We're going to learn, and we're going to keep moving forward. And I want to encourage each and every one of you to continue moving forward. If you fail, keep going, and just take the next right step every day.
I could hear it.
Take the next right step. So all of Monica's contact information will be in the comments below, as well as the podcast description. And we're going to move into today's readings, and we're going to discuss those things. Okay. So today's meditation from Meditations from the Mat, we are on day 14. Let's take a few deep breaths.
If you're driving, please pull over or do not close your eyes.
Don't close your eyes if you're driving.
Stay safe.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, an old proverb. In yoga, we learn to stay with the posture, to hold the posture. Difficulty, discomfort, fear, boredom, distraction. The entire gamut of thoughts and emotions arise, and we simply observe their comings and goings. We learn to use what comes up to inform the present posture and to help us in the postures to come. There is a liability in this ethos, however. Thanks to our no pain, no gain Puritan heritage, the hardworking, well-intentioned yoga student often believes that nothing less than 100% gonads to the wall effort will do. The fallout from this misconception can be injury, but more often it is simply bitterness and blame. We blame our teachers for teaching too hard a class, but more often we will blame ourselves for simply not being better than we are. On good days, we feel the elation of living up to our expectations. The bad days are fraught with frustration and failure. Caught in this negative cycle of judgment and evaluation, we find ourselves, at best, blocked from the most nourishing aspects of yoga, and at worst, unable to sustain our practice. Defeated, we give up and move on, believing we have failed and that yoga is not for us. There is another way. We need to learn to make rest a part of our practice. And we need to take that rest long before we feel exhausted or frustrated. Beginners can rest and regroup in child's pose, taking a few calming breaths before moving on to the next posture. If you begin to think of rest periods as an active part of your practice, you will stay in tune with what your body is telling you and act accordingly. Intermediate students can learn to rest in the posture itself. This is an important concept. We enter a posture, the heat builds, and before long, we want to get the heck out of Dodge. That is one option, retreat. But another option is to just back off a little within the posture, rest for a breath or two, and then see if you can deepen the pose. As a young man, I would look in awe at older people around me who could sustain their effort at a job or project over many years. I didn't realize that these men and women had learned to rest in the posture. Let's take a couple nice, slow, deep breaths and then begin. Let's talk about that. Okay. Resting in the posture. Okay. It's not just for yoga. And, it's not just for, one thing. Resting in the posture of your day-to-day life, right?
Yeah, that's heavy.
It is heavy because we're so, like it says, gonads to the wall, go, get it done 100%. Your best isn't good enough kind of mentality, right? That's just kind of where we come from. But we need to
I call
learn
it pacing and planning.
Pacing and planning. Yep, same idea.
So if I know that something's going to take a bunch more energy, then I have to pace and plan for that energy. So sometimes that requires us to take a rest and be ready for that extra energy first.
Yeah, one thing that we have found that we need to do is when our computer starts shutting down on us or frustrating us or, things are.
The tablet shuts off.
Yeah, the tablet shuts off, whatever the case may be. We're like, okay, the universe is telling us that we need to take a break right now.
Yes.
And that's okay. Instead of staying where we are, getting more and more frustrated and things like that, it's like, okay, you know what? We're going to walk away from this for about 5 minutes. Maybe switch gears and do something else for a little bit because this particular thing is not working right now. And I need to take a break from that.
It's perspective. Like I just need to realize that somehow I unplugged the laptop, turned off the power switch while I was trying to charge the laptop. So that's why it shut down on me while I was working,
Right?
Yes. Yeah. I had a friend who used to talk about the the pauses in the music. And he said for a while, he'd say, what are all those oohs and ahs and that silence in the music, in the songs? And I just love this because he said he realized as he got older that those oohs and ahs are just as much a part of the song as the words are, as the lyrics are.
Yeah.
And those are the times sometimes that you listen even more. And that pause is a place to listen and receive.
That yes, the pause in everything is really a time to rest, receive, change perspective, whatever the case may be. Take that time and enjoy that moment for that moment.
Yeah.
Because
if I have a client that's coming in and they're either fearful, maybe it's their first time having a reading, or they're really attached to an outcome or a story, they really want it to look a certain way, then I'll say, let's see if we can be really good listeners right now. And it's such a simple statement, but it creates that pause that makes room for us to actually hear and for us to be in the position of receiver. And it doesn't even mean that we're going to receive, because we don't have control over those things, but we can make it more likely. We can put ourselves in the position of humble and hands out, and we'll be more likely to receive the information when we're pausing, listening, resting.
And that's exactly what the point of meditation is.
Right.
It's the same thing with prayer, right? Whatever your beliefs are, every religion around the world that I can think of tells you to go and rest and breathe and think.
Be calm.
Be calm. Take that break. On the seventh day, he rested. We all need rest. That pause in music, when you're reading the music, that little pause there, it's a little squiggly symbol. It's called a rest.
Yes.
Right?
Very good.
So it's
You're
all
taking me back to piano
comes
lessons.
together,
Right.
right? And then we're in chapter 11, Parinama of the Path of the Yoga Sutras by Nikolai Bachman.
So our new word is
Our new
Parinama.
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 Transformation.
Transformation. And this is why I fell out of the chair this morning.
Right? She literally just slid right up.
Love it.
Slippery little sucker.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The serenity prayer. Everything in nature, including ourselves, changes from moment to moment, day to day, year to year. How well we accept and adapt to changes can affect our lives in helpful or harmful ways. Our heart and mind can change quickly on the outside, but our deeply held opinions and long-standing habits are much slower to transform. According to yoga and modern science, all matter is made up of basic elements such as iron, oxygen, and tin. These elements never fundamentally change, yet they take on different forms and combine into thousands of different molecules and composites. For example, gold remains gold even when it changes into a wedding ring, goes into a computer chip, or adorns a sculpture. We can always melt it down again and return to its original elemental state of gold. Each person's field of consciousness is like the gold. It can go through many, many changes over time that on the outside make it seem as though people are quite dissimilar. Yet inside, we all share the same inner light of awareness. The strong winds of a hurricane swirl around on the outside, while the center, the eye, is clear and still and unaffected by the storm. In the same way, our thoughts and emotions fluctuate around an inner light of awareness, our Purusha, that silently watches them. Changes in our physical body affect our breath, heart, mind, and vice versa. Improving the health of these three components of our human system contributes directly to our well-being and happiness. Yoga postures, breathing exercises, what and how we eat day to day, activities, and interactions, as well as sitting quietly, all serve this end. Yoga postures, breathing exercises, what and how we eat, day-to-day activities and interactions, as well as sitting quietly, all serve this end. Right?
Beautiful.
And I'm going to stop there for today. But
adding mindfulness into your eating is actually adding that pause and not even realizing that it's all so connected.
Yeah, and it's actually better for you if you eat mindfully. Your brain recognizes that it's eating food, right? And you're more likely to feel full sooner than if you were just to scarf it all down and not, not even actually taste and feel and smell your food while you're eating it.
Right. Get the senses in there.
Yeah. Get the senses in there, eat mindfully. Pay attention to what you're feeding your body mentally, spiritually, and physically. You have to pay attention to those things that you're feeding your body, because what you hear, you think, right? What you see changes your perspective. So protecting yourself against those negative influences.
Even something as simple as paying for YouTube Premium. So like when we eliminated sugar from our diet, my son, he's just like, Mom, they keep showing me these commercials. He's like, I'm doing okay until I see these commercials. And I was just like, we can fix that. I was like, YouTube Premium, take it away.
Let's get rid of those commercials.
I was like, that's worth it to me, because then he isn't being exposed. Because if we're repeatedly exposing ourselves to these things, whatever that feedback is that we're getting, if it's not good feedback, if it's not making us feel good, if it's tempting us, you got to clean that out.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that, when you said about taking that moment to appreciate, I remember I was out with friends, and I was, because I'm very sensory, and I think we all are, really. I mean, we have senses, we could indulge in them if we like. I was eating strawberries, and they were chocolate covered strawberries. Yes, and in that moment, that's exactly what I was doing out loud. I didn't realize consciously that I was going, and my eyes were closed. And when I opened my eyes, now, this was a little awkward because I was single at this time. It was a group of girlfriends, and there were a couple of guys sitting around and
looking at you funny, like,
and I remember, well, that was awkward, but it wasn't, because it was that ability to indulge and appreciate. So I think really bringing gratitude into every moment heightens that moment and that experience. So when we talk about that protection, I say the best protection against low vibrations is to raise your own vibration. And the way to raise your vibration is gratitude. If you want to instantly raise your vibration, it's gratitude, song, music. It just instantly in that moment, it brings you up here. And just like being an inspirational teacher by example, it is more likely to raise the vibration of other people. Because when we defend, we protect, what we do is we actually close off. So I say, you want to raise the vibration, raise your own vibration. Start with yourself.
It'll radiate out, right? It's all ripples.
Yes, that's the whole idea of just even getting together and having these conversations, because the more we're sharing these with each other, then the other leaders in our community are sharing it, right? So we're all raising our vibe, we're all changing, we're all growing.
I read, I was perusing Pinterest yesterday, and I read a quote by Mother Teresa, and it went something like, I may be but one person, but I can start the ripples. Something along those lines. I'll see if I can find it and find the actual quote and
I
post
think
it for
I
you guys later.
saved
But
it in our quote list in our doc.
yeah.
I think it's one of our community quotes, actually.
Oh, see, same brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can always create those ripples with our vibrations, with the energy we put out into the world. Positive energy. You smile at somebody, they smile back, right? You start laughing, it's contagious, and
Especially
that goes
me.
both ways with negative vibrations, right?
Mhm.
Other people can feel the vibrations you're putting out in the world, right?
Well, and they may not, and I say this, that they may not respond in like, only to say that I know that if I get attached to their response or their outcome, then I've just lowered my own vibration.
Mhm.
So, and I think that happens very often where we say, gosh darn it, Kathy didn't smile back at me. Well, F her. It's like,
Right.
it's not about Kathy.
No.
This isn't about Kathy. This is about how am I responding? Or can I remain in the state of compassionate, even if Kathy's not responding the same or in like, and it's okay for Kathy not to be there. And I can still love her because it doesn't change me.
Kathy's reaction is about what Kathy's going through in that moment.
Yeah.
Right. It's about them. It's not about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are only responsible for what you can control, like the serenity prayer, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, we can control only what we can control. We can always choose what emotions we're having. We can always retrain ourselves.
We can't choose.
We can change the synapses in our brain
because we're valid when we have the
we
emotion.
are valid when we have the emotion. We
But
can
what
control our reaction
with the emotion
to
and our reaction we can control.
Yes.
I mean,
it's okay to be sad when you're sad. It's okay to be mad when you're mad. It's okay to be happy when you're happy.
I like the I'm reading Untamed
by Glennon Doyle.
And she was talking about how sometimes somebody needs to go through the emotions, like they just need to feel them for a minute, and that's okay, and we can hold space for them to just feel it, acknowledge you're valid, what you're feeling is real, and it's okay to just feel it and be in it. Don't hide it or tuck it down or pretend it doesn't exist, because it does.
Right. And we were talking about this just the other day. It's like, toddlers, right? When they have feelings, what those feelings are. They will let you know. They will. If they're mad, they're going to throw themselves on the floor,
Ask any mom of a toddler, they will tell you they know what their child is feeling, right? And they're a little over it usually, and that's okay.
And it's important for us to learn that it's okay to have those feelings. Yeah. Your feelings are valid. Okay. And just looking at the why are you having this reaction to that thing? Is that the right reaction for what happened, or whatever the case may be?
We talk about that in we use circles. So the first circle is was this a problem that I could solve myself, my circle? And then the next bigger circle is getting mom or dad or somebody else's help. And then the next circle is okay, we got to call the police, or, reach out to a counselor, go to the doctor, reach out further into the community. So we actually, we use a lot of hands signals in our house. Nice. We talk about that, okay, and that really helped me too as a mom to be okay, that's really something he should be handling himself. And and acknowledging, okay, I need to let him have that experience so that he can do that for himself, right? As a parent, and sometimes that's hard because I always want to fix everything. I'm a fixer. I want everything fixed, but I want him to be, whole also. So he's whole too. So he has to have whole experiences. So I shouldn't intrude on some of those experiences, but be there for him and let him know he's valid and acknowledge it.
And all these tools are useful in all the situations, whether it's in business,
Right.
at work, interacting with other people, in public, in your own family, in your own household, right?
Am I my own IT department, or do I need help?
Right. And it's okay to ask for help. It takes a village, right? Well, reach out to your village. How can they support you in this way? You're struggling in this area. Who do you know that can help you in that specific area? And some things are definitely worth paying somebody else to do, like taxes, right? Somebody else can do my taxes. I don't want to deal with it. It is well worth a couple $100 a year to pay somebody else to deal with that for me.
Right. And doesn't it feel good to have a sense of mastery over something? Because that's what you get validated for yourself when you help someone in an area that you're strong in. And so to be loving can be handing it over to help of someone else, because you're letting them have that sense of mastery. So letting them help you can be so kind.
Right. And learning how to use these tools and use these skills that we talk about is really important toward our current topic, which is transformation, right? Because I have learned so much over the last few years about personal growth and things like that, that, I want to share with you all, but it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to give yourself some grace and continue learning and growing along the way, because it is a path. It's not
a straight road.
It's not a straight road.
It's not paved. It's not a super highway.
No. Think of it more like a hike on the, what's this trail here? The PCT.
Oh, the Pacific
Coast Trail, right? Think of it as a hike through the Pacific Coast Trail, because there's going to be nice terrain and then there's going to be hard ones, right?
So you can't see the mountain beyond. Sometimes you can. Like you got to get to the top of the next hill, right? So sometimes when it's really hard and you're chugging along, you need to take a breath and acknowledge how far you've come.
Yes.
And see what you've done and take a minute. So taking that rest, taking that moment, I keep getting goosebumps today. I told you today was going to be my day.
Yes. A beautiful validation.
I got goosebumps today too.
Yes. Connected there, that electricity that flows with us. It flows within us. I love that you said grace. I love that word grace, Charlie. Grace, because it's gratitude in all forms. Grace is, of course, a form of giving yourself grace, giving yourself thanks. Just this moment of here, have some thank you. We as sometimes people get stuck on thank you as like, you should be grateful. You should be thankful. And, we forget that gratitude is a gift that we give to ourselves, because it shifts our perspective instantly. So it's like when I give myself grace, I give myself a break on the trail. I give myself that pause. I give myself, and then of course that's magnetic, that grace. Grace. Can we give ourselves grace in all these challenges?
And then also holding space for other people and giving them grace, I think is super important as well, because, we get frustrated by,
we live with other humans.
Yeah, we live with other humans.
We have to interact with other people. I don't think it just happened.
Yeah, not everybody thinks the same way we do. Right. Not everybody has experienced life the same way we have. Everybody has their own
Maybe they turned the radio on instead of choosing something to listen to today and heard a song that triggered them.
Right.
And then you're the next person they talk to.
Again, back to creating good habits and feeding your body physically, mentally, and emotionally by everything you hear, touch, and see.
Yes.
Nice.
Feed
Nice.
yourself some good stuff today, you guys.
Yes.
Speaking
As
of
we
good
talk
stuff.
about transitions and transformations, that's how we got here, right?
Right.
I've been on a wellness journey myself,
Mhm.
and I've lost 170 pounds.
Woo!
It's just
Yeah.
really feel it today. I just felt like, oh, okay. So sometimes I say it, it's really dismissive, and sometimes I say it and I really feel it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm looking to see what this next 50 pounds weight loss looks like. I think that it's going to be really emotionally healing. It's not just physical really right
Mhm.
now. I think it's going to be a very emotional journey for me. Not holding on to things that I don't need to hold on to anymore.
Mhm.
But what's been really important is to have really high quality supplements for my nutrition. And I found a company called Globally that takes that farm to table and puts it into a supplement. So there's no added fillers, there's no chemicals, there's no dyes. And the company has a really good foundation. They really work with superior natural ingredients, and they're really focused on bringing your inner beauty out, so healing your body inside, like bringing your beauty from the inside out. So a lot of the top products have glow in the name, and then along with that, as we're bringing beauty from the inside and you feel better and you're glowing, you boosting your confidence on the outside to match what you're doing as you heal the inside. So they have come out with some lashes, and these do it yourself lash extensions are amazing.
Yeah, they're finding they stick on for what, 15 days?
Yeah, we have someone, I think she's
Ooh.
on 16 or 17 days now. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, every time I see it, I'm like, did you, Charlie, she still has them on, you know, like, look at this picture, like, look at those eyes, like, because, they're time saving. They take under 15 minutes
Mhm.
to learn. So like, as you get better, like it's going to take you fast. So, and they're cost saving because it's very expensive to go lay there and have
Get your
someone
lashes
do
done.
your lashes. You can't move your, I didn't know about the whole process about laying there. And if you open your eyes at the wrong time, it can cause stinging and all sorts of crazy things that scared me. I was like, what? So this is like a nice, because you can control it. And if they're really irritating you, you can use the special makeup remover. We call it the eraser, to help break up the glue. And they're super lightweight, and because they're applied underneath the eyes, you wake up and your eyes are brighter. So when you wake up and look in the mirror the first thing in the morning, you see your brightness, right?
Which is vibrant,
Oh, that's
right? It creates
Right, so
vibrance, right?
you're
And that's
starting
the
your
light.
day with confidence. And
Mhm.
just like having my hair done and that transformation that I've had with Studio 5 Glam, like the amount of confidence I have,
Has been huge.
just like looking at my hair, and I didn't know it could look so pretty. Like I never had any idea that my hair could look like this, right? I didn't know, like, so I'm like, I can't wait to experience the next level up of these DIY lashes. Like, so if you are needing any of that, they're in our link trees. Okay.
She's getting a little emotional. Like, oh, my confidence.
Yeah, so we do
Yeah.
have the 12 days of Christmas going on. There's still giveaways going on. We have a few more days left of that in our Facebook group called Let's Talk About It. And if you're not over there, let me know. I'll get you in there.
Deep breath.
Wow.
So much goodness.
So the blessing that brought Charlie and I together is the October Company.
Ooh, open enrollment, 7 more days. Or
Six more days
6 more
this
days.
morning. We can count backwards. We probably can.
Right? So is it 8 on Wednesday? So that would be 6
We can
today.
only count backwards if we're going on our favorite rocket ship. Though.
Right.
Right.
We don't have kids at all.
This guy.
Little Einstein.
Cute. Yeah.
So the October company came together. It's a family-owned insurance brokerage. So what that does is it provides a variety of options for every single individual. So whether you're a solopreneur or you have 20 employees, we can work with you. Whether you're the
Or
single
more
mom,
or less.
or you have a big family, we work with all of it. So that, and we have things from major medical to they call it indemnity plans that pay you when something happens, which is super amazing for solopreneur.
Mhm.
This is like really important. And when we're building our businesses, there's nothing that destroys it faster than an accident in the family, somebody gets sick, you have to take a couple weeks off of your momentum in your business, and you have to start over again because there's no momentum. And now you have to go back and get a regular job just to maintain and keep going.
Mhm.
So what these products do, these provide you with a little bit of assurance, and we help with the whole process. So like, you're like, I'm not good at filing paperwork. Well, that's what we're here for. That's part of what we do, right? And we'll make sure you get they work like they're supposed to work. That's one of the things that we did, is we found companies that we can talk to,
Mhm.
that there's a person that's going to pick up the phone on the other end, so that we
Mhm.
can make these things do what they're supposed to do in a timely manner.
Right. So we don't have to wait on a call center on your behalf.
Yeah.
Right.
'Cause-
Or you don't have to wait online with a call center. You can call the October Co, talk to a person. They will call whoever needs to be called to sort out whatever the situation may be.
Yeah, and we have all the checklists and everything of all the paper, we know how to file all the claims, we know how to do all that stuff, right? So when something happens, like, oh, I don't know, my teenager decides to pick up a sock with his toes, slip, fall, and break his femur.
Oh,
And he came down just like straight down on it. The doctor's like, how did you get a sledgehammer to the bottom of your femur? What were you? So instead of worrying about my business, I was able to take the week off and go to the hospital with him, sit there. I was able to get him some video games and still pay my rent and still pay PUD and still, have gas in the car and keep the internet on, because that's how we entertain our children these days, right?
Mhm.
So I didn't have to stress about the finances of that and still keep moving forward, right? So I don't like those kind of accidents that are like to stop us,
Right.
from building our businesses.
And a medical event can be the make or break point for families, right?
Right.
A lot of families are struggling right now, and the last thing they need is somebody to get sick and be out of work. And so these will help
So
with that.
And the only way to know is to have the conversation. And people think, oh, that's super expensive. We have products for every single budget level.
Every budget.
Yeah. So it's important to just get started. So 6 days for open enrollment left in Washington State. Most state insurance exchanges probably on to 6 days. So it's important that if you are need to have medical insurance, that you are talking to someone right now. Give us a
Right.
call.
And we know that there's
Contact
lots
us.
and lots of people who have changed jobs, started their own businesses and such. And we want to make sure that everybody is taken care of, because, life happens.
Yeah. And
Right.
those are not bills that anybody enjoys getting.
Right.
Because you're still going to go to the emergency room. You're still going to get the bill. Nobody wants to have that bill and not be covered. So if you're not covered, or you need better coverage, or you don't know where you are on the spectrum of coverage needs, give us a call. Message us, text us, get an appointment. We'll get you into the right place.
We'll get you.
nice.
Holiday season.
Holidays.
So
locally, we have the Lights of Christmas. We're going to share their link in our description. The Lights of Christmas at Warm Beach is a beautiful, wonderful light display. You hear in some of the bigger cities, zoo lights or whatever. The Lights of Christmas is amazing. They have thousands and thousands of lights and lighting displays, hot cocoa, donuts. You got to try their homemade little donuts and stuff. They're amazing. And it changed from a walkthrough to a drive-through thing due to COVID.
I like the Warm Beach because they have like a variety of things. Like they have nights where you can donate canned food to support local food banks, or they have a come earlier, or
Pay what you
time-
can.
pay what you can time. I was trying to find the word for that.
Yeah. So
yeah, they have a variety of options so that every family can enjoy these beautiful lights if you want to. One thing I like to do is just like grab a cup of hot cocoa and just go drive around and look at Christmas lights. And that's been such a blessing. This year, my son wants to do it again. Like we
didn't want to do it for a while.
for
Now
a
he
few
wants to do
years,
it
and
again.
now that we have been blessed with a vehicle again, he's very excited about like, hey mom, can we go for a drive on like a Christmas lights? And so that's just, it's such an easy thing to do, and take a few minutes, take that pause,
Yeah,
and enjoy
take that rest. Do something fun with your family this weekend. We've only got a couple weeks left until the holidays. It's going to get a little crazy. Make sure you take some time to enjoy it as well, right?
Yeah, we did the lights of in Stanwood for the first time this year, and it was wonderful. It was just Matt and I, and it was just beautiful. I was in
beautiful.
awe. Yeah. Great experience.
So if you're local to the Stanwood area, go check it out. It's really awesome. And they really do support the community. What else we got?
We would like to take a moment and thank today's sponsors.
Oh, HEMA Forge Virtual Gaming, still looking for some gamers to play in the alpha testing in January. The information will be in the links below. Shoot JR at HEMA Forge Virtual Gaming an email, and we'll get you in touch and get you set up.
And I would love to thank Alex at Studio Glam 5. I still am loving my hair. I had no idea that could be so pretty, and I could wake up feeling so beautiful every day. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Alex at Studio 5, and Chris, who owns Studio 5. Thank you so much.
And the October Co. We always would like to thank them for bringing us together.
Yes.
And you.
We could not continue doing this without you and your support. If you would like to be part of our podcast or support us in any way, please shoot us an email at womeninleadershipbsmb@gmail.com.
Be sure to follow us on social media and download and listen to your favorite podcast. We were at 199 downloads last night.
Yeah.
We didn't look at it this morning. We've been
I haven't
too
really
busy.
looked at it this
We're
morning.
so excited. And that includes, you can download a podcast right on Facebook. I had no idea. That was cool to learn.
Well, since I figured out how to post them on our Facebook page, we actually have more downloads on Facebook than we do any of the other carriers right now. So thank you so much for your support.
We're looking forward to connecting and building relationships with even more community leaders. Thank you for joining us today on the Women in Leadership Body, Mind, and Soul Business Podcast. Without you, our community wouldn't be the same. Join us next time.
Namaste.